What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. This is Blinkers Off. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? Yeah, welcome back, everybody, to the big show. If you've been watching the minor leagues for the last 3 shows we've done here on the network today, welcome to the big show. Welcome to prime time.
Yeah, you probably were on all 3, weren't you? I mean, shit, you got to get on every one of them.
I don't think I could win on Magic Mike today. I had to go eat at some point, so I was out eating when Magic Mike was on. But I did watch a little bit of it.
They weren't talking shit about Baker, so you didn't feel the need to jump in there.
Right. Yeah. No, they weren't. They weren't. No. So I was rooting with Samich. He hit the free pick 4. So if we were still doing best thing I saw today, that would be that. He hit the free pick 4 that he gave out on the article today. So that was good.
Yeah. By the way, for people wondering, what is that? Like, so if you're listening to this now, you probably listened to it on Friday. Hopefully in time. Samich put out an article today, free, obviously promoting the Soma Bombs, but also threw up a free pick 4 at Belmont Park today, and it hit for what was like $1,500 on like a $48 ticket, I believe. So, and we had people that just messaged us, just flooded it on Twitter and emails saying, "Hey, I hit it." But whether it be that, we had a couple customers that hit a combined of your picks and Sandwich's picks that hit for like $26K on the pick 5. Yep. So the picks were it was that kind of day at Belmont.
Yeah, no, it was great. Yeah, and that's the thing. The leg Samich missed was the first leg. Obviously, he hit the pick 4, but the pick 5 he missed it. And my top pick was the winner of that 5th race. So Ed Gagnon was the one who won it, and he does that a lot. He combines the 2, and then bam, he hits it for 26,000 there. The pick 5, that was awesome. Really good guy. He talks to us a lot, so I was really happy for Ed getting the job done.
So I haven't watched any of the Ricky stuff. Did Ricky really say this? Ricky said that Jackson is right behind Mahomes. Is this true?
He didn't. Mark, I think you're kind of exaggerating. I don't think he said right behind Mahomes, but he basically said, that he's great and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league and he's earned his money and all this stuff. But it was the same spiel we have to go through all the time where I'm like, Ricky, he really didn't play all that well in that game. He turned it over twice. He buried him early. Yes, he stuck with it. He played well. It was on and on and on. Just the spiel you've heard 100 times, and the people watching have heard 100 times.
Yeah, I've tried to avoid his show, which I do like the plague, anyways. But I mean, this week especially because nothing to sugarcoat here. And I mean, you know me well, and obviously we talk. You know how pissed I was, and not necessarily it was that. I mean, I've been pissed at the Chiefs all week, and we're awful. I mean, it just blew the game absolutely, and it wasn't because of Lamar. I think you could have ran. You could have ran 5 yards against the Chiefs that night, and you may not have lasted very long, but you could have. It was awful.
Well, I could have hit Hollywood Brown on that pass. I will say, because there was nobody within 50 yards of Hollywood Brown on the 1 touchdown pass that he threw there.
You literally anybody could have done that. My little boy could have hit him.
I mean, he was not Ricky, but people were like, "Wow, what a jump pass!" It's like Lamar's the only one that would have made that a jump pass. He was wide open. He ran and he jumped and he threw.
Just throw it.
Just throw the ball, you idiot! He's wide open. So,
oh yeah. It was really bad. I tweeted out after the game. I was like, "Listen, best team won tonight. I don't think the best. I don't think the overall best team won tonight, but the best team that deserved to win won because the Chiefs played like shit, and they shouldn't have been in that position, but they were because their defense was awful, and of course Clyde fumbled it, and we don't need to get into all of it. I still think the Chiefs are the better team, but they got a lot of shit to figure out if they're going to get there. All right, so let's see. What else happened last week? We've had some big news over the last couple of days. Obviously, Monomoy Girl retired. Santa Barbara, who was literally the pick of the Breeders' Cup, passed away today, which is just insane news. Had just like a weird hip injury, and it just I don't even understand how it happened, but she had to be put down, I guess, and that's obviously sad in itself. But she's obviously 3 years old, so big time talent still. So those have been, obviously that's got Breeders' Cup implications because now that race, you had to relook at that race.
Yeah, this was bad. It was really weird. Yesterday it comes out that it's a minor injury, but she's going to be out for the Breeders' Cup. And you thought, well, that's sad. But like you mentioned, she's 3 years old. Like she's got a lot of career ahead of her. And then just one day later, right as the rocket hour was ending, that news comes out. And it's like that. I waited like 10, 15 minutes before I really said anything because it's like, that can't be right. I just read where it was just minor. And then, yeah, so that's awful. That's the only way I can describe it. That's just awful. That's a horse that had everything in front of her. But as Papa Dude said on the sports show, it really doesn't matter if it's a horse like that or a claimer. It's part of the game, and it's always sad when it happens, and it's just something that we have to deal with here with the sport. Not all the time, doesn't happen all that often, but when it does, it's always tragic.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, like whenever I saw that, I was like, well, you know how like international horses sometimes the names are the same, or it's. I was like, that can't be the same one, you know. Like she was just fine, you know. And then you're like, you're like, shit, man, like that was the same one, you know. Just ran in Arlington. Obviously won at the Belmont Oaks. I think it's the Belmont Oaks, wasn't it? Yeah. And I mean, she was obviously incredibly talented. So yeah, it's really unfortunate for Bolly Doyle. Another on the positive side, we saw some good racing obviously over the weekend, but Walton Street threw his name in the ring for maybe like this is the turf horse you're going to have to beat come the Breeders' Cup turf. Like forget domestic spending, and like I mentioned to you, because of what happened to domestic last time we saw him where he lost, and given that we've seen some horses kind of sprout up like the Walton Street, when the Breeders' Cup comes along, you're going to get the price you want on him, on domestic, that is, if you want to play him, because he will be the price now. But can't even win with a horse like Walton Street because that horse looked like a beast.
I'm really not sure anymore on him. It's really crazy how domestic spending has just kind of lost that luster for a paceless race that he tried to close into, still got second. Yeah, Walton Street was really impressive, like a blowout win there at Woodbine. I don't know. I think I tend to lean Walton Street a little bit over domestic spending as of right now. And then you have other European horses who might come over here as well. So that's another factor in it. A horse like Tarnawa came over here, last year, and I don't think anybody was beating that horse. I don't think she's coming back, but at the same time, you don't know who they're going to send. And so that's kind of what you got to look at. And what we're looking at right now is just trying to see who's coming. But yeah, I mean, if you like domestic spending, a horse that, 2 or 3 months ago, hell, maybe even a month ago, he's 8-5 in this race coming up. And now he's maybe 5 or 6-1. So it's a surprising turn of events, but Breeders' Cup races, they're hard to win, especially on the turf, and especially when you're American based trying to beat Europeans.
It is kind of amazing how it's gone from like, you and I know we're ranking him number one for a while. And then to go from that, I mean, one, like overall, like literally the number one horse in training, to now it's like, well, I don't even know if he'll win his division. And just by basically, you said, like a paceless race, he couldn't close in. He did close to get second. But it's hard to argue with, because you got to remember, people don't forget or have to remember, like before he kind of had this 3 or 4 race pattern, he was not like when he won that, whatever it was, Saratoga Derby I think it was like, he was like 5 or 6-1 that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it wasn't like he was always like this Chad Brown superstar that just, I mean, he struggled early in his career as well, and then kind of has obviously erupted to be what they thought he would be. But it wouldn't be absolutely shocking if he kind of reverted a little bit back to how he would, because he, Chad had mentioned before how hard he has been to train.
Yep, we'll see what happens with him. I mean, he's still got a world of talent. He's going to get a better setup. So, I mean, he's still definitely right there. As with Gouffo, he's another one that's right there. But,
yep,
again, it's just a situation. Are they going to be hampered by just whoever they bring over from Europe? And maybe they're running for second or third, depending on who comes. You just never know. We won't know until about I think the pre-entries come out about a week and a half before the races. Then we'll have a pretty good idea.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us live. Again, if you watch or if you listen to this after the fact, you'll join us live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and tune in and get questions asked. And like Mark asked one here right now, it says, do you guys take the Woodbine races as serious races for Breeders' Cup preps with the fields they are in the weird wide turf. Like, so basically last week, we had a bunch of racing at Woodbine, the two juvenile races on Sunday were All Bar and Wild Beauty, where Appleby just came in and wins everything he wants to enter right now over here. He's got two juveniles that are serious. It looks like. What do you take? How serious do you take them given it's Woodbine?
Very. I don't take Woodbine and say, I don't throw that out at all. No, I take them very seriously. I think, I think Woodbine does produce a weird winner every now and then. But overall, no, I think a horse can prep at Woodbine and come to the Breeders' Cup and win. World Approval, it was a horse that prepped at Woodbine and won at Del Mar at the Breeders' Cup. So yeah, I take them very seriously. I don't view them as as a track that just has weird winners and that's all there is to it. So yeah, I take those two juveniles of Applebee's very seriously. Obviously, Walton Street, one of my top picks as well for the Breeders' Cup. So yeah, right now, a lot of them coming for Woodbine. So let's hope I'm right about that.
So are you like, was he that impressive for you that Walton Street that it's like, I'm thinking this horse might be the winner of this race?
Yeah, as of now, he's the pick. But, somebody said on Twitter, I think it's too early to pick Walton Street. I said it's too early to pick any horse in any of these races. But that's not any fun if I would just write an article and say that. Like, you want to get that going. You want to get people to read. You want to get people fired up for it. And listen, Walton Street may not be the pick on Breeders' Cup Day, but as of right now, yeah, I put him as the pick.
So just because this guy has the best name ever, I know who it is. Somo Hates Baker asked, dumb question. Are you guys doing another live bankroll for Travers Day? That was a nice day. Thanks. We will be doing it for the Breeders' Cup, which is kind of the bread and butter. It's like kind of how it all started with the bankroll. So yes, we will be doing it. It's 2 days. It's awesome. It's the best bankroll we do all year. So the Breeders' Cup, we will be hitting it heavy. I don't know. It's always a question of how much we invest into it, what our bankroll looks like, but it'll be $500-$600 for sure for 2 days. So yeah, we will be doing that. Let's see. Gut feeling Bafford's going to dominate Breeders' Cup Day. We'll see about that. $1 million. Let's see. Last time the Breeders' Cup was at Del Mar, there were 7 big turf races. Euros won 4 of them. The ones that didn't win were sprint. So yeah, I mean, it's not any time like. And as we've seen, even if you forget where it's at, I mean, we don't have a lot of turf that can match up what we've been seeing. The Euros that we're bringing over, and you got to remember, like Alterman said, like it's not like we're seeing like the bread and butter of the Euros come over. I mean, these are just horses you don't even know about until they're here, and then you're like, well, I guess they're pretty good. I mean, these are horses that can't compete on the Euro side. Let's keep that in mind, right? Those are horses like, well, they were okay over there, and now they're here. So imagine if you get one of those comes over the Brewer. It's just I don't think we have much of a shot.
No, yeah, and like the horses there, like World Approval won at Del Mar. Well, he was super sharp at the time. Like that was just a really, really nice horse in great form. Rushing Fall won the Phillies juvenile turf. Well, Rushing Fall was elite. Like, I mean, most of the time, not all, most of the time, you have to be a pretty elite American horse. So to win at the Breeders' Cup. Sometimes a juvenile can kind of sneak in there and win, and maybe not have to be that great, but to win the turf, you got to be pretty damn good. To win the mile, you got to be pretty damn good.
Yeah, so let's talk about this for half a second. He says, nice hoodie, Halterman, by the way. So are you wearing a Sting hoodie? Is that's what's happening here?
Yes, yeah. Sting, the performance, I mean, I can't even describe it, and I'm sure Samo Hates Baker. You probably watched this. Last night, AEW had their big show at Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York City. Sting's 62 years old, and he may have been one of the top 4 or 5 wrestlers on the card. Like, I was like, he looks like he's 30. He was unbelievable. And now he doesn't look it, but in the ring, like his moves, it's like, wow, like he still has it. So yeah, I'm representing my boy today. He was unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, you used to have back in the day, way back in the day, you used to, dabble in the professional wrestling websites. Yep. I think you're starting to create a little fan base here. Everyone that's on our damn streams like half the people know what you're talking about. I don't.
Well,
But you have enough. I think we might need to, like, we've already branched into sports. We need to add to the sports. We need to add professional wrestling.
I have a podcast partner in mind, and I think it would be good. The only thing is, we really enjoy it, and we don't really want to make it work. But the wife and I could do a wrestling podcast. She watches every show with me. So, listen, it's crazy. It's back. Wrestling is back. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. It's back. It's like it was back when we were kids. They got too strong. Well, you got AEW, who's really strong, and the WWE sucks, and they're taking it over, man. And it's been really exciting these last probably, I'd say 3-4 months. AEW has really, really built momentum.
I think you hit the nail on the head, like it was when we were kids.
Right.
We are adults now, Halterman. It's time to grow up.
It doesn't bother me that you don't like it, and I do. I'm not threatened that you don't like it, like you are that you're threatened that I like something.
Oh yeah, shit. Okay, all right. Let's get to the show. All right, we're gonna preview 2 monster Grade 1 $1 million races at Parx. That's right. I'm gonna say that one more time. Grade 1 $1 million races, a pair of them at Parx, the Pennsylvania Derby and the Cotillion. Then we're getting some rapid fire selections for some of the remaining stakes action this weekend at Belmont Park and Parx. Let's go. Pogs and wrestling. We moved on.
Well,
I wish I could find my Pogs.
Good. Sting looked good because they did well to cover what he couldn't do. Of course, he's 62 years old.
Now listen, I agree with this with Somo hates Baker, Mister. I think that would be amazing because there would be zero other podcasts. I don't imagine there's any professional wrestling type podcasts that have a husband and wife doing it together, especially with the wife that knows. I mean, even though she watches it, she knows, like, she doesn't. You taught her, she's very new to the game.
That's the thing. She is AEW is all she's ever watched, and she's only watched it for it was like 6-7 months after I started back where she finally came back. She's only watched it a couple months. She watches every show and every pay-per-view. That is not exaggerated. She could come on here and do whatever, talk about she could talk about the low guys on the roster. It's unbelievable.
Sometimes they role play in the bedroom. I've just heard rumors, but
that's exactly.
One of them is Sting, and then the other one is, and I don't even know another guy's name, but Sting and someone else.
This match here, Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega, it was great. A 30-minute draw to open up the card. It was fantastic.
Came in my pants. Wow, Gavin.
I didn't come in my pants, Gavin, but I did enjoy it.
Good Lord. Okay, you guys. I mean, a 30-minute draw. I agree so much. Like, what are you doing with your life? 30 minutes and you get nothing happened?
Oh no, tons happened, and it was a perfect ending because it was Bryan Danielson's first match in the company. You didn't want him to lose, but you also didn't want him to come in and beat the world champion of your company. So a draw was a good ending for that.
I think another idea would be and I'm not saying me because I maybe know, even though I don't necessarily like it now, I know a little too much, like someone like you, and then someone that's completely clueless to the game. That would be a good podcast too, because that would be like a good back and forth that, like almost like your wife, like with Heather. If you would have started this early on, I think it would have been even better because you would have been kind of following and showing how she's learned picked up on all this. Because when I was last time I was over your house, and we watched it, she didn't. I mean, she kind of seemed into it, but she didn't really care.
Yep. I don't know where the switch kind of flipped for her because she was that person of I don't even watch it, but I'm not watching him. I might be in the same room, but I don't even know who these guys are, and he's kind of dumb for doing this. And then I swear, like 2 months ago, she's like, "This isn't bad." And so we watched like about 4 or 5 episodes, and she goes, "That pay-per-view they're talking about, how do we get that?" And I said, "Well, we download this app and then we buy it." She goes, "When is it?" I said, "It's Sunday night." It was the Sunday. I think it was Sunday night. And she goes, "Do you think we ought to buy that?" I said, "Sure." And so we bought it. And she goes, That's the best TV show I've watched all year after the pay-per-view. So it was something. Yeah.
Tinder and Turnbuckles. Hey, that's a pretty good name. I like that.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
We could have, like, I could kind of update Haltzman in the world of what's happening on Tinder these days, and he can update me on what's happening in the world of wrestling, and we could just hit both sides of it.
It's funny because you are definitely the Tinder expert, and I literally
I don't know how I feel about that, by the way.
Well, it is what it is at this point, Jared. But
it's happened. Either deal with it or not.
It is what it is. But I've said this on our show before. I can talk wrestling lingo. Like I had a wrestling website. That is not a falsehood. Like I wrote wrestling articles for a couple years in high school. So anyway.
All right. Coming up next on Forget Horse Racing, guys, we are moving to pro wrestling. Hope so much likes writing articles and making picks for that, because that's what's coming next. So get used to it, buddy. The Tinder guru. Sometimes I hate to say it, but I can go through photos, and then I know he's completely changed how it used to be. When I first was on Tinder, but it's like, nope, that's fake. That's fake. Oh, she's just gonna want me to pay for sex. Oh, she's gonna be a hoe. I know. I go through every one of them and know before I even swipe. It's like I can read into. It's like it's not even fun anymore. It's like ho for show. No.
Listen, this comment right here is ridiculous. No, I am not a mark. Come on, Dr. Furanda.
Boat.
Yeah, Samich. Heather is a mark. Exactly. Yeah. Heather is a mark. Yes. Thank you, Samich.
What are you, like the Steve?
What am I?
Yeah.
I'm the wrestling podcaster. I'm in the media. That's I don't know.
Would you put your skills to the match with like some of the guys that have been doing the wrestling podcast for years and years?
No. Like a Jim Cornette, he's a legend. Like I wouldn't go up against him. Some of them are idiots, but yeah, like there's some really good ones as well. I listen to Jim a lot. He's great. Yeah, he's happily married to a Mark. So that makes sense. No, smart Mark, maybe that Furanda, maybe that. But no, Heather loves Darby Allin. She's a big Darby Allin Mark.
Okay. Anyways, we get to the show. This is like we need to have a show because this would be you could talk about your wrestling. We go back and forth. I could ask you all the stupid questions. You could fill me in. And then,
should we just?
I know, but we need to do more. We need more time for it. We need to do the whole show. That's what it needs to be. Like,
the Racing News Variety Hour.
Boots and Hose. What was it? Boots and Hose? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Boots and Hose. That sounds like it would get approved instantly on Apple. Okay. Let's go to the Cotillion. Let's do a couple races at Parx. Let's see here. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, Saturday at Parx. That's right. Parx has the big 8 stakes races on the card at Parx on Saturday. Of course, highlighted by 2 grade 1s, 2 $1 million races. Race 11, race 12, the Cotillion Stakes, and the Pennsylvania Derby. These are not official Breeders' Cup winning or in races, but make no mistake, these are final preps for some of these horses, seeing what they can do and what they are moving forward to the Breeders' Cup and where they might go into the Breeders' Cup. And let's kick things off with race 11. That's the grade 1 Cotillion Stakes worth $1 million for fillies, 3-year-olds going 1/1/16 miles. Okay, so Halterman, this one is interesting. Obviously, we'll have 2 scratches to talk about. Bob Baffert brings in horses. Well, he entered horses, Private Mission. And, of course, Medina Spirit in the Pennsylvania Derby. Decides to scratch Medina because he didn't like the post, supposedly. So both horses are staying put. So field of 9 going to be scratched down to a field of 8 with Private Mission and the Cotillion being scratched out. So you're looking at 2-1 on Clairiere, maybe even lower now with Private Mission out. Where'd you go with this one? Because, Clairiere has been a horse that consistently runs well, but never wins. Army Wife maybe wins races that are lower level stakes. Obligatory can kind of be same a little bit with Clairiere, likes to run second and third. Always Karina had a lot of hype early on. Now she's, what is she now? So where do you go in this race in terms of because Private Mission, I think, looked like Bob Baffert shipping her in. it's Bob Baffert. You don't need to say much more. Like, she's probably going to win. Now she's out. So where'd you go?
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. And with her out of the race, it really makes it interesting. Listen, I have a hard time choking down Clairiere at what's probably going to be like 7 or 8 to 5. I just can't do it. At the same time, these other horses have been very inconsistent one way or the other. I went back to the Chad Brown horse. I think Always Karina gets to the front and doesn't look back, especially with the scratch of Private Mission. I thought those two were the controlling speeds in the race. With Always Karina now alone on the lead, I think this horse is going to be awfully tough to catch, especially at a track like Parx where speed does kind of hold. For people who want to bet Clairiere at a shorter price than Always Karina, let's rewind 2 races back to the Mother Goose, where Always Karina was a 4 to 5 favorite and got beat by Zagel. And so Always Karina didn't run very well. You know who finished behind Always Karina? Clairiere. So in a race where we thought, well, Always Karina was terrible in this race, Clairiere still lost to her. I'm going to go right back to Always Karina, 6 to 1, gate to wire. I think she gets to the front and is really hard to pass.
Yeah, I mean, as far as pace goes, there's zero question. Like, she has pace advantage. She should get to the lead, and it'd be just a matter. My question is, I just don't know how good she is. Like, I just can't help but wonder, is she going to give up the lead, top of the stretch, and but it's not like there's great horses in the race, but there's not terrible horses either. I mean, Obligatory can run down, at least can, bang up there for second and third. Obviously Clairiere, take nothing away from her. She will run her race typically. Always Karina is interesting from a pace, like you said, like the pace. I asked you if you thought Pratt would switch over. You think it's going to stay with Johnny V. Obviously Pratt rode this horse twice. Always Karina, that is, the last 2 in the Mother Goose and the Test. Wouldn't be as surprising, obviously, to see either way, even if Pratt was available, just because, she did lose those 2 races. So it wouldn't be surprising to see him switching it up. And then Army Wife, to me, that's where I went, because you look at Army Wife, the last 3 races, let's say, I guess we can go back to the last 5. I mean, she wins to start off her the year at Gulfstream Park. She goes to Aqueduct, gets the 3rd of the Gazelle. Search results dominated that day. Goes and wins the Black Eye Susan for fun. Wins the Iowa Oaks for fun. Goes to the Alabama, going 1.25 miles. Dude, I mean, she was in the lead in that race. So hitting not even the top stretch, into the stretch. She just she got tired. I don't think 1.25 miles is what she's going to, be best at. But she still ran a great race. And really, she ran, I would argue, her best race. I mean, she just wasn't good enough for Malathot. And I get Clairiere ran her down at the very, very end. But again, going 1.25 miles, I felt like Army Wife did more of the dirty work than Clairiere that day. To me, Army Wife gets back to the distance where she is 1 for 1. She had won at Prairie Meadows that day in the Iowa Oaks. But I think this is a lot more of her likings. Guess who's back up to ride? Rosario, who won 2 times in a row with her in the Black Eye Susan and the Iowa Oaks. He's going to give her a bang up ride. I think he's going to sit the trip, whereas your horse, the 8 Always Karina, will dictate things. But I think come top of the stretch, Army Wife will kind of try to run her down.
Good pick. I like that pick of Army Wife. That's who I have in second. I'm a fan of Army Wife over Clairiere. I have Clairiere 3rd in here.
I agree. Plus the fact you're going to get a better price on Army Wife, which is because I think Clairiere is classy. I'm not going to take anything away from her, but I just don't trust her at, like you said, 8 to 5, 9 to 5.
Wouldn't be shocked if Clairiere won. Don't want to play Clairiere to win. Just think there's said it. Army Wife, better price, more likely winner. Always Karina, better price, more likely winner. That's where I'm at. I even thought about Obligatory.
Me too. At that price, for sure.
I think that's a nice horse. The distance, a little bit of a question mark. I think she'll be okay though. I like that horse a little bit over. I'm not going to say over Clairiere, but close. So I'm just not a huge fan of horses that just don't ever win. And I mean, that seems pretty logical, right? And this horse just cannot get the job done. But again, it's the right circumstances. maybe she gets it done here, but a loose on the lead always Karina. I'm not sure Clear Air is capable of running down horse down.
Yeah, with the one horse, obligatory, I'm so on the fence with her because it's just like I feel like she should win one of these races, but you look back at the Acorn again. That's a grade one, big race at Belmont. You got beat by search results. Nothing to take away from that. Obligatory. I mean, Jose. I went and watched that replay like 3 times just to see. Okay, it's like how was she in that race? Because I remember that race. We were there, and obviously we needed. Who was the 4-horse? I can't remember her name now. The other filly that was on the lead.
I'm trying to think now. Can't think of that horse's name. I can see
who was
the
in the
horse.
Acorn, the horse that should have. We keyed search results into her on the top 2. Then we had obligatory third.
Yes.
And I remember we needed that. It was like, okay, obligatory's coming. Well, shit, she passed the 4-horse who I can't remember.
Yeah.
Day of the Office, and it was Day of the Office, and she just. But the point is, like, he was beating the hell out of Jose. Was trying to get. I mean, she's so like it's almost like, was she closing? How good was she closing, or was this a matter of like horses just were kind of stopping and she just? So I'm not sure. And I'm certainly not sure if she can catch a horse that's loose on the lead, or if I mean, can she beat Army Wife? I don't think so. But I have a feeling if you can, I would use her because like I said, I just have this feeling that she's due to. I mean, you look at the races she's been running in, the 8 Bells, the Acorn, the Test. These are good races, and now she's here. Not to, it is a grade 1, but it's at Parx, Cotillion. Like, you can win this kind of race. So I like her. Obviously, I like Army Wife. I like Clarier, and I like always Karina. I'm with you. I think you got to use the loose on the lead kind of horse in this kind of race because you just don't know how good she is. The Mother Goose, man, like, to me, getting beat by Sigel that day just, I don't know, like, it just completely turned me off with always Karina, like, forever.
It definitely took the wind out of the sails, so to speak, right? I mean, that was a bad loss that day.
She was like, what was she? She was like 4-5 or something.
4-5 and looked pretty bad. And then looked pretty bad last time out as well. But gets back to 2 turns, or I guess 2 turns for the first time, because that was a 1-turn race at Belmont, even though it was a past 6 furlongs and the Mother Goose. But it was bad. There's no doubt. I can't really say it any other way. It was not a good loss for her with such high expectations. But again, I think the pace scenario is right, and I think the horse stretching back out in distance here is going to help. So I'll give her one more shot. I think with the presence of some more pace, I probably wouldn't. But I think if she's right around 6-1, 5-1, I think it makes sense.
How far down was she before Private Mission was scratching for you?
I think I put her in 4th because I thought, well, she's the other horse with speed in the race. I put Private Mission on top, and I had her in 4th. And so then when that horse scratched Private Mission, it's like, this horse is way the fastest horse early. Like, it's not really close. And so I had to reevaluate what I was doing there.
Okay. Yeah, I just wondered how the scratch, how that changed your picks. Again, racingdudes.com. We've got the wagering guide available right now for the Parx. This is the first time I've ever done a wagering guide at Parx, let alone, or for the Pennsylvania Derby, let alone Parx. So we have a wager guide, all 8 races on there. Of course, Halterman's got all his picks and how he's playing these sequences, what horses to use in the pick 4s, pick 5s, so things like that. So you want to check that out, racingdudes.com on the products page. But yeah, I mean, to me, I would be the most comfortable I could get is if I could use the 1, the 5, the 6, and the 8 and move forward, because I do think you can go thinner in the Pennsylvania Derby. We'll talk about that one next. And I definitely think you can go thinner in the, obviously the Gallant Bob. You can go thin. You can go super thin.
Yeah.
In that one. So I definitely think with Jackie being there, that's your single. And you can maybe stretch out a little bit in the 11th and 12th and hope you get, because sometimes weird things can happen in these races. And so I think you want the price in case. But you've got the speedster, the only speedster compared to what's in the race, number 8, always Karina. And I've got the 5, Army Wife.
Oh, real quick. Yes. One-hit wonder, in my opinion. I'm not a Maracuja fan.
Yeah, I'm not either. I think she I mean, it's one thing to I mean, when you have sevens sandwiched between your one, to me, that's a one hit wonder. And if not, and even if you want to call her a one hit wonder, she's wildly undependable at best. So it's just like I mean, if you have the money and you want to, if you want looking for prices, like sure, throw her in because I guess she showed she is capable of running like a 97 buyer in a huge race. But I mean, if you get beat by her, I think that's one of those you just live with.
Yeah, I agree. Not a fan.
That is crazy that she. I mean, to go back and be like, yeah, that happened.
That's the thing. Like people on Twitter, like you could have seen it coming. She was getting better, and it's like no. Go please better in the Alabama.
And she showed you why you don't better in the Alabama. So
yeah. Yep.
All right, let's get to the big one here. That's what she said. 3, 2, 1. Next up, race 12, the Pennsylvania Derby. It's grade 1 with $1 million for 3-year-olds going 1/1/8 miles. Field of 10 going to be scratched down to a field of 9 again with Medina Spirit drawing the 9 hole. Apparently, that's too far outside for Bobby, so he's going to scratch her out. We're going to have Hot Rod Charlie is going to be your favorite when this thing goes to post here. Hot Rod Charlie is 5-2 in the morning line. Will be your favorite, of course, with 2-1 on Medina Spirit being scratched out of the race. Midnight Bourbon, your second choice at 5-1, 8-1 will keep me in mind. And really past that, you're just looking at horses that you think can pull off an upset here. Midnight Bourbon, Hot Rod Charlie, and Keep Me in Mind, to me, are the three logicals. And really, if you want to go even deeper, I think even thinner, it's Hot Rod and Midnight Bourbon.
I think Bob Baffert didn't ship here because he was going to get his ass kicked. I really think Hot Rod Charlie, Midnight Bourbon have progressed, and I think Medina Spirits went backwards. So, you know what? Midnight Bourbon, the last time he saw Medina Spirit, he left his soul out on the track there at Pimlico. He passed him like he was standing still. So, I wish Medina would have came because I think he would have finished off the board. So anyway, let's go to the race. I agree with the comment that Nick Feldman just put up. Hot Rod Charlie, Speaker's Corner, Exacta for me. That's my top two choices. Listen, I wanted to pick Speaker's Corner, but I can't get over the fact that I've seen Hot Rod Charlie run what I consider to be elite type of races. And I think if he shows up with an elite race, I don't think Speaker's Corner could beat him. I kind of wanted to flirt with picking Midnight Bourbon, but I didn't because Hot Rod Charlie kind of was just going to zoom right past him until he decided to knock him over in the last race. But I just think Hot Rod Charlie's a better horse. I also think the scratch of Medina Spirit helps Hot Rod Charlie and Midnight Bourbon kind of get out in front of the rest of these. But yeah, I think Hot Rod Charlie is the best horse in this race. It's got a big race field though. A lot of big names in this one.
Yeah, Steve, by the way, Steve comments, visited Parx a couple years ago. We were with you when we visited there. The Pennsylvania Derby, 1 and done for visiting that track. Math Wizard, really? And hey, Math Wizard's on the undercard. How about that? So
that's right.
Math Wizard, horse for course. That guy's going to win again just for you, Steve. But no, I mean, honestly, the best part of that trip, there's tie for the best part was the sports book afterwards. Parx has a phenomenal. I mean, it rivals Vegas sports books in the casino. The casino's unbelievable. And then was the Philly cheesesteaks the next day. I mean, that was better than the racing and the racetrack. Frankly, we didn't get to see these kind of horses that day. I'm with you. Hot Rod to me, like if Hot Rod isn't DQ'd from the Haskell, he's 8-5, right? I mean. Like, I don't think, and he did, nothing changed. He just got DQ'd, you know what I mean? But he still won the race. I just think he's the best horse. I think Midnight Bourbon ran a huge race in the Travers. A lot of respect for him, but Hot Rod is on a different level. I mean, I think Midnight Bourbon, we've seen that. I think he can't quite compete with what Hot Rod can bring to the table, what we've seen lately. To me, Hot Rod, if you've got the balls, I think he's a single because it just... You look, okay, Louisiana Derby, he rolls. He goes to the Kentucky Derby. I still, that's one of those weird races, right? We don't understand how Mandaloun didn't technically get by. We definitely don't understand how Essential Quality didn't get by. And when you look back at what we've seen, we don't understand how Hot Rod didn't get by, but they didn't. So he ran a great race, didn't get by. He runs the race of a lifetime, frankly, in the Belmont, and gets beat by another horse of one of the top horses we're probably ever going to see as far as 3-year-old performances we've seen, Alterman.
Yep.
And then he goes and backs that up and runs a 102 buyer, slight regression, but not much, in the Haskell. Yeah, he got DQ'd. Like, it is what it is, but he won the race. So, and he beat Mandaloon that day. So, I mean, it's just like, what is he? He hasn't done anything wrong at all this year, frankly. And I know you're not getting 5-2 on him, but to me, if you want a single, you single, because I think you can live and die by him. Now, I will say this. I'm not worried about Midnight Bourbon. I'm not. But who I am worried about, and you're going to laugh me off of this podcast, I'm sure, is the 2-horse. Keep Me in Mind. I didn't almost, but because I can't go against my boy Hot Rod. But I think Keep Me in Mind with Rosario. I know he finished 4th, but the Travers was a paceless race. Like, come on. He can have, he's the kind of horse that would win this race, and you'd say, really? Really? Because, he finishes 2nd, he finishes 3rd, he finishes 4th, like in every race. This would be the race he wins. Just saying. You heard it. Just saying. You heard it here first.
I just can't. I get I'll tell you one thing I do get about what you're saying. The pace should be there because Midnight Bourbon and Hot Rod do go fast early. I think they're experienced enough now and quality enough that I don't think they're going to get into a speed duel, though. I think they'll kind of get out there by themselves and control it up front, but I don't think they're going to just fly. So I don't think there'll be enough pace. And when I say that, I think for Keep Me in Mind to win, it would have to be like 22-44 opening quarters, going a mile and an eighth before he would finally win. And I don't think they're going to do that. So,
oh shit,
he could finish 2nd. He could finish. It's like, here's what's weird, right? Keep Me in Mind and Midnight Bourbon, they're the same horse. They hit the board in all the big races. They dance all the big dances, but they can't win. Yet they have opposite running styles. Midnight Bourbon is on the front end. Keep Me in Mind comes from way out of it. Their results are very similar. It's strange like that.
Side note, Steve, the horse has not won since the Pennsylvania Derby. That's right. 5th, 8th, 5th, 2nd, 5th. 5th beaten 16, 4th, 9th beaten 13, and 3rd beaten 10th. So, hey, the horse is getting better. Going straight to that. So, that, by the way, Math Wizard runs in race 8, the Greenwood Cup Stakes, which we might get into a little bit later on Rapid Fire. The thing about you, like you kind of said, Hot Rod has gotten to be so smart to where he's not going to get you, like, if someone wants to go out there and play, like Pratt, was so smart with Hot Rod in the Belmont. He's like, hey, listen, come get me. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to win this race, it's going to be by going to the front. So he did. He tried his ass off. Haskell said, no problem. We can sit off. That's fine. If you want, we'll sit off. The horse. And so it's like, he's gotten to be such a smart horse and smart, obviously got a great jockey with Pratt where it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? What they want to do. If someone wants to go out and put, go blaze, sure, he'll sit off of it. So you don't really worry necessarily about, Hot Rod, if there's too much speed, if, Midnight Bourbon wants to go, what is Hot Rod going to do? Well, he'll sit off. No problem. So I don't really worry about that with Hot Rod. And that's ultimately why it's like, I have so much confidence in him going or him winning. Any consideration for American Revolution to spice up the vertical bets, right? Jock, good pedigree. Obviously, Luis Saez, Todd Pletcher, a horse it's a state bred. He's a New York bred coming in. I think he's a New York bred, isn't it? Yeah, he's a New York bred. Coming in here 15-1. Obviously, he's been very good, but jumping up in class vastly.
Well, we saw him live and in person at Saratoga run on New York bred day, the day before the Travers, and he looked awfully, awfully good. He beat a horse named Bobby Bow for Bob Baffert, who wasn't awful, had been won a race at Del Mar and then came over here to race in this New York bred race. I couldn't get there as far as thinking he could beat a Hot Rod Charlie. Could he get 3rd here? I think so. I really do. I really think he could get third. I, the other problem is I don't think he's been in a race where the pace is going to be what it is here. And I think that's going to be the big thing. Like he needs to hang, within 2-3 lengths of the lead. And how hard is he going to have to work to get that position from the outside post with the pace being a little bit faster than what he's faced in those New York bred races? I think that's the big key for him. I think the class may get him a little bit, but I'll tell you this. I've seen a lot worse 15-1 shots for you to play here, right? I mean, this horse has shown some pretty good signs, and that last race at Saratoga was pretty damn good. So if you want to take a shot, I'm not talking off of him. I just don't know if he's ready to match up with Hot Rod Charlie and Midnight Bourbon, those kind of horses.
Yeah, I mean, his debut, he did get beat by Mandaloon on his debut, but of course, again, lots can change from that. But he got beat by 4 lengths that day in a main special weight at Keeneland. Okay, let's talk big. And by the way, if the post is too hard for Medina Spirit, it's definitely too hard for American Revolution. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
Okay, bigger thoughts here. You and I are both on Hot Rod, borderline single. Understand if you want to play Midnight Bourbon in there, or keep me in mind if you agree with me. Speaker's Corner, the 3-horse. Do you feel the same way, similar to what you're feeling with the 10, in terms of we don't really know what he is? If you feel like you want to be defensive, play him, or do you feel more like I think he's really, really good? Of course, we saw him. Did we see him that? No, we didn't. That was the next week. Do you think he's really, really good either way?
I don't know what he's all about. Okay. He won that allowance and he looked really impressive and he got a nice speed figure there at Saratoga. All positives. He's 12-1 morning line. That's a positive. Everybody on Twitter likes him. That's a negative. Not only those horses usually don't win, but they get bet. So he might be like 5-1. The biggest thing for me, okay, who did we beat in this allowance race? Well, he beat Defeater. That horse isn't bad. And he beat Mahamel. Mahamel lost in a 5-horse allowance field by as many lengths as he lost to Speaker's Corner by. So I don't think Mahamel's very good. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if Speaker's Corner is the goods and wins this thing. But the reason why, like a lot of people putting this horse on top, the reasons why I didn't, it's first time going long. First time going 2 turns, and it's a 1.1 miles. It's in a grade 1 race, and it's in a legit grade 1 race. These horses are solid. I'm afraid the class is going to hit him in the face a little bit. The thing I do like about him, I think he's going to come from out of it, and I think he might be the strongest of the closers, other than Keep Me in Mind, but I think he'll be ahead of Keep Me in Mind because almost everybody always is. So I'm back and forth with him. I do have him in second because I do think he's spicy here, and he's kind of the new shooter. But yeah, I think class is still a question with this horse.
It's kind of tricky too because it's like it's so late in the season where it's like you have to basically win here if you're gonna see this horse in the Breeders' Cup, or at least the Classic, I guess, because it's like you're kind of late the game. Been running the main special weight to allowance, and now, or I guess you didn't only run one race this year, which was an allowance. Now go straight to the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. I mean, you got to show something huge, or else we're not going to see or hear about this horse for like 2 months, at least. So that's kind of the tricky part about Speaker's Corner. He needs to be the goods in order to be something moving forward. And to that point, you and I are both on Hot Rod here. But so I kind of mentioned in the opening, like this is not a Breeders' Cup winner in, but it kind of is because you have horses like Hot Rod Charlie, who's got, I'd say, somewhat legit chance to win the Classic. He's capable of it. The 7, Midnight Bourbon, obviously very classy 3-year-old, but kind of proven to be below essential quality. Medina Spirit scratched out. We'll see what he's about. But these 2 horses, at least on paper, the 7 and the 8, you very well will see in the Classic, assuming all things go. So do you need to see anything from either one of these, specifically Hot Rod, considering we both picked him, to be like, yeah, listen, like maybe he can win the Classic?
I think the big problem with the Hot Rod Charlie and a Midnight Bourbon is they're going to have a huge pace advantage to win a race like the Classic. And I don't see how they get that if Nix goes in the race. That's kind of my problem with both of them. Like if I'm going to beat Nick's Go, I got to have somebody coming from off of it, because I don't think it's going to be somebody that can kind of look him in the eye and is going to be around him. I think they can play a big factor in the Classic as far as who eventually wins, because I do think Hot Rod and Midnight Bourbon can go up there with him, at least for a little while, at least make it uncomfortable for him. If for some reason Nick's Go falls out of the equation, and let's face it, this is horse racing, they can fall out of the equation at any moment, right? If that were to happen, all of a sudden, I think if Hot Rod gets out there and wins this race, and then you get to the Classic and it looks like he's going to be on the lead, I think he becomes a much more serious threat.
It would be something, right? If I'm not saying, I mean, like the horse wins Louisiana Derby, he goes and runs a great race in the Kentucky Derby, doesn't win. He goes and runs an unbelievable race in the Belmont, doesn't win. Wins the Haskell, doesn't win. Say he runs second or something here, doesn't win, and then he goes and wins the Classic. Like, that would be the storyline, especially if you want to really tie it together. The horse was 94-1 the year prior in the Juvenile. So, like, I don't know, like, history as far as I don't like specifics of, but I gotta say, no horse has been a logical contender to win the Classic the following year. The year after, they were 90+1 in their prospective race in the Breeders' Cup, which is just insane that this horse was ever at those odds. And now we're talking about him as being a top 3-year-old. And of course, the chance of him winning the Classic, it's just wild.
And I want to throw this comment up because I totally agree with Carlos. He says Hot Rod hasn't run a bad race in his life. He's all heart. That's the point. I think that horse is all heart. I mean, he's one tough son of a bitch. He shows up and he gives you what he's got, and if it's good enough, great. And if it's not, he's going to run his ass off. So I respect him a ton. I like that.
Yeah, but you're not worried about, if he's in a race, he's going to run his race. And whether it be good enough or not, that's another question. But you're going to get, it's like, oh, he didn't fire. Like, he's going to fire. He'll fire for you.
And you could say the same for Midnight Bourbon. He's going to show up, but the difference is Hot Rod's better. He's more talented.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you look at Midnight Bourbon, all he did wrong was in the Kentucky Derby, where he just got shuffled behind early, and he made a run. He, obviously, wasn't his game that day, but yeah, I mean, otherwise, he's never finished worse than third. So he's another one of those that shows up every time. So not only is this race important from cashing some tickets on Saturday, but look for these horses. Keep an eye on what these horses do, what they do, what you think of them, how they can move forward from this race, because they very well might see them in the Classic. You and I are both on number 7, Hot Rod Charlie.
Yeah, it's I kind of agree with Nick. I think Carlos says gate to wire. I kind of agree with Nick. I think he'll stalk the pace here. Unless something happens and Midnight Bourbon doesn't get out of the gate well and he's behind. But that comes to this comment from Beckett. He's versatile. If he needs to stock, no problem. Yeah. If he falls on the lead, he can take it and take control of the race. So that's the horse. That's the kind of horses that are most dangerous, because trips usually don't get a horse like this beat unless they have trouble at the gate.
Yep, that's kind of like what I mentioned earlier. Like this, he just doesn't matter how the race unfolds in front of him. He'll kind of pivot and decide how they want to run. I mean, he's gonna fire. Like, when you get to the top of the stretch, he's either gonna be on the lead or he's gonna be right there. Now, can he outfinish whoever? We'll see. But he couldn't outfinish Central Quality. I don't know. I still don't know how he couldn't outfinish like Mandaloon that day, or Medina Spirit even. I guess we know why he couldn't outfinish Medina, but still, it's like
and Mandaloon.
Mandaloon and Hot Rod and Essential. Okay, but anyways, that's a whole.
We just went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, you can go list off the top 6 horses. But anyways, and then the Haskell, the poor guy, finally breaks through, finally wins one, and then he about killed Midnight Bourbon. Midnight Bourbon's got something to say. He's pissed. He's gonna go after Hot Rod. He's gonna go. What's it called?
He's gonna savage
him. He's gonna savage him. He's gonna savage Midnight Bourbon's gonna savage Hot Rod Charlie.
That is kind of interesting that they're back. What if he did? What if he goes, oh no, it's you again?
Fuck you, man. I about died at Monmouth, you little bastard.
I pray he does it. That's what I want to see.
Wouldn't it be amazing if they? I mean, because then it's like Hot Rod all of a sudden becomes like he's the horse. He's just like he's like everyone's wondering what his deal is.
He's the villain. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he's funny.
Man. That would be something.
All right, let's do some rapid fire. All right.
I love it.
All right. Let's see here. 3, 2, 1. Time for Rapid Fire, presented by the Inside Track to the 2021 Pennsylvania Derby. That's right. Get the all-inclusive 13-page wagering guide to the 2021 Pennsylvania Derby this Saturday at Parx. Features in-depth analysis of all 8 stakes on the card, of course, including the 2 races we just talked about, the Pennsylvania Derby and the Cotillion. So get in-depth analysis of how we're playing those, how exactly we're going to play those on the multis, on the verticals, or the horizontals, how you want to make money on those races. We've got those listed out on the wager guide. Plus, we got 8 stakes on the card, but you want all the analysis, you want all the undercard action, get it all in this guide. How we're playing the pick 4s, how we're playing the pick 5s, how we play the undercard, everything's on there. Go get that. And again, be a subscriber. We're in that time of the year. You be a subscriber, you get the next wager guide, which is at Keeneland. Then you get the next one, which of course is the Breeders' Cup. So it's a good time to be a subscriber because you get all the wager guides absolutely for free. RacingDudes.com. On the products page, click the big button on the menu, get Racing Dudes Premium. All right, Haltman, we've got a lot of racing action to talk about. Of course, Belmont has action as well. We've got big time horse running there. And we have Churchill, which I don't think either you or I use Churchill, but we do have some stakes action at Churchill. And of course, Parx has a bunch of stakes to talk about. So we're going to rapid fire this the good old fashioned way. We're going to give our 3, the most likely winner, the best value, most excited. Of course, we have better names for that. All right, let's go. Let's start things off with that. Lock that shit up. Pick of the weekend. Halterman, let you kick things off.
Well, this is the easiest one we've ever done, right? I mean, I go to Belmont, race 4 on Saturday, the grade 2 Kelso, and Life is Good faces a field of 4 other horses, and he is just way, way the best. So he is the lock. He is the single. We're not really doing anybody any good saying it. He's 1-9 on the morning line.
You don't see that very often. You see a 1-9 on the morning line.
Hardly ever, but I think it's worthy to use it here. Really fun to see him back. Let's see what he does, and then let's see where he points next. But it's exciting that this horse is entered.
Yeah, and Somo Hates Baker says, hey, listen to Halterman, City Life is Good the mile. That is the plan. Pletcher said, listen, the plan is right now, obviously run well here. We're going to go to the dirt mile. That's the plan. He did say, he will go longer. I think this is going to, being that he's with Pletcher, win the dirt mile, go next year. Maybe we'll see him in the Classic. But for this, the timing and the way this is all kind of worked out, Halterman was right. I think the dirt mile makes a lot of sense. I text Halterman today when I saw that news that he was going to be pointing to the dirt mile. First of all, I was like, yeah, you're right. Second of all, I was like, he's the lock of the Breeders' Cup. Assuming he win, I mean, he's got to win here, obviously. He should. But going into the Breeders' Cup, barring no issues, how do you find a horse that, him in the dirt mile seems just insane? I feel like he's got a chance to win the Classic. If he's in the dirt mile, I mean, shit. So, he's just going to dominate this field. I'm telling you, I'm thinking, he's a lock of the Breeders' Cup, and it's September 23rd. He's going to win this race.
Yeah. And let's see. Where was the? Yeah. Irad staying home to ride him. Right. Yes. Irad is going to ride. So
he wants them out in the Breeders' Cup.
Well, and let's talk about this because we talked about how Mike Smith fucked up, right, in the last race. Probably should have won. No Mike Smith here. So that speculation ends. It looks like Irad's going to take this mount.
And fan-fucking-tastic, because that is the best news I've seen all week, that Irad's on this horse, right? When I saw that Irad was on this horse, I was like, sign me the fuck up. Mike Smith, see you later, okay? Because I'm still salty we didn't cash that bet, because he should have won that race. He should have won the Jerkins. I'm just saying, okay? I'm still clearly over it, okay? No comment. All right, we're both on Life is Good here. And by the way, are you going to bring up the Jackie's Warrior race at all later?
Yes.
Okay, I won't get to it then.
Okay.
But he's obviously a very easy another 1A to the lock that shit up pick of the weekend. All right, Alterman, let's go to. So let's just go to that point, right? The So Excited I Get Wood Memorial Race of the Weekend. Halterman, I know where you're going, so let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm going to go bring up Jackie's Warrior, like you said. So let's go race 10 on Saturday at Parx. It's the Gallant Bob Stakes, and Jackie's Warrior, who beat Life is Good last time out in the So Excited I was jerking it race. So the Alan jerking. Yeah, I don't miss a chance to use that line. It was a winner. Those were happier times, Jared. Drunk at Saratoga, yelling at Ricky and talking about jerking it on the pod.
You were jerking it with happy tears that day. You know what I mean? Like you were using Ricky's tears, your own tears. It was a perfect day. Anyway, by the way, and Borat Capper, he was. No, that was a different day. Never mind.
No, Borat showed up late to the pod. Yeah,
that's true.
Anyway,
yeah, he was there.
Excited. This is another single, no question. Jackie's Warrior should dominate this field on his way to the Breeders' Cup Sprint, where he'll probably be the favorite. But it's exciting to have these two back. You know, I think back to that Travers Day when Life is Good and Jackie's Warrior matching up, and how excited everybody was about it. You know, nobody really cared about anybody else, any other horse. It's just like, I can't wait for these two to throw down. This is going to be amazing. And now they're both back. Now, obviously not the same race, but still exciting. I'll pay to watch Jackie's Warrior any day. I love that horse. So happy to see him back, and excited to see what he does to this Gallant Bob field, who doesn't look great.
I mean, he should just perfect scenario. I mean, obviously, it shouldn't even be shouldn't be that hard to dream this up. Like, I mean, Life is Good. I don't know what the race times are here exactly. I think it's the race 4 on the Life is Good. So the Life is Good will dominate earlier in the day, and then we'll be like, well, shit, Jackie's Warrior will dominate here again. These horses will go to their respective Breeders' Cup races, and they very well could win. You know, like that's when you saw that race that day. When we saw that race, you just had to know, like you knew you were seeing something special. Like those are two really, really fucking good horses, and I think they're going to continue to prove it. And I don't think you're going to see them match up again, because I do think they're going to they already have, I guess, start to part ways in sense of Jackie's definitely going to be this one turn kind of horse. We're going to see Life is Good. And then obviously he's going to go probably stretch things out next year. But man, we saw a good one that day. And I knew you were going to go this race. I didn't know which way you were going to go with the most likely winner or the most excited, you're jerking it race. So I knew you were going to go there. So I'm going to go with earlier on the card, just a few races earlier, race 6. That's the Plum Pretty Stakes. And again, let's go to the horse. One of my little jerking it horses, number 6, the Chubster, Chub Wagon. Going to try to stretch things out here. Listen, 9 for 10. One loss has been just a bad loss, really. Finished second beaten by a length and a quarter. Stretching out for the first time ever. But he's been dominant. She's been dominant, I should say. He's been dominant. And there's obviously been talk of, what can she do? Is she good enough to run the Breeders' Cup? Well, this isn't like again, they keep running her in these kind of races. But at least they're stretching her out here. And we're going to see a little bit more of what maybe she's capable of going to mile 16th. But if she rolls again here, I just am excited because I want to get her. I want to will her into the Breeders' Cup at some race just to have her there, because I love talking about this filly, Chub Wagon. I want to see her romp here at a mile 16th.
Okay. I'm excited for the race because I do want to see what she does going 2 turns. I'm skeptical, but still I want to see. But there, like the Breeders' Cup talk with this horse, I don't get it.
Don't dash it, man. She's going to do it.
Now we're in a Pennsylvania bred stakes going 2 turns. It's like
I love it's a Pennsylvania bred. I love it.
I don't know what they're doing. They campaign this horse like she's not that good, but she runs like she's really good. I don't know. I don't know.
It's the most how PR, how should I say this? It's the most. It's the wussiest way, I'll say. It's the wussiest way of ever campaigning a horse, ever, if she's any good. Like, they keep running her in this bullshit. It's bullshit. It's ridiculous. But I love it because, first of all, the skip at stakes when we had her as a bet. I convinced you to on the guide. I was like, let's use her for a win bet. She rolls the Chubster. The name is amazing, and then she's had a place in my heart ever since. And then the talk of even the mention, Magic gets it. He's on the Chubb wagon is with me. The mention of Breeders' Cup, especially when you talked about. I mean, there's been what was it? What's his name? Sterling talking about her beating fucking Gamine. And you're like, oh, I mean, Gamine will beat the hell out of her, but I want to see it. I want to get her in the same race. That's what I'm here about. I want to see I want to see her in the Breeders' Cup. So I want to see her stretch out, which I don't understand what the stretch out does, because isn't it 7 furlongs that she would run in at the Breeders' Cup?
Yeah.
So again, I don't know, but I'm excited for it because I love Chubb wagon.
I don't know. I'm so confused by this horse. I don't get it at all. And here's the deal: you watched her on Preakness Day, and you probably haven't watched her live again because she runs on like, oh, it's a Monday at Parx and Chubb wagon's in it. What? Like,
you text me. I had the boys and stuff, and I was busy, and you text me, and you're like, hey, by the way, Chubb wagon's on their car. I was like, what? Sweet. This just made my day. Like, forget Hot Rod Charlie. Chubb wagon's gonna be there. Perfect. So. I would fly in just to see. And hey, this is her course, man. She loves her some Parx, so I'm all about it. Chubb wagon, the most excited I get. Wood Memorial race of the week for me, Halterman. Let's finish things off here with the Make It a Rain long shot pick of the weekend. What you got?
All right, I'm going. Let me pull this up here. I'm going to go race 8 on this Parx card. It's the Greenwood Stakes, not the Goodwood Stakes. That would have been the Wood Memorial race of the week if it was the Goodwood Stakes, but it's the the Goodwood. Anyway, sorry, the Greenwood Stakes. I'm going the 8 horse Seafoam. I think this horse goes gate to wire. 2 really nice wins in a row. Both came at Saratoga. Last time out, winning for the New Connections and really looked more impressive than he had in a while. I like the stretch out in distance, actually. I think this horse is bred to go 1.5 miles. And again, controlling speed in the race. I look at this, it's like, yeah, the 7's got a little bit of speed, but outside of that, nobody else does. The 8's faster than the 7. I think Seafoam can go gate to wire here at 8-1. So I'm gonna take a swing with Seafoam.
Dude. I don't know what it means. Maybe it means nothing, but the fact that you and I are on the same horse, right, for our long shot pick. I mean, I think we're gonna have to back up the truck a little bit on this one because I'm with you, dude. This is my pick. This is my long shot pick. Seafoam. I'm with you. You pretty much said I thought about the one in race 9, Beer Can Man, but. I just like Caravel too much. I think that horse is going to be awful tough. But in this race, in race 8, like, are you afraid of Moretti? I'm not. I'm sorry. It's just with me. It's like, listen, how do you pull off an upset? Well, you got to have a fast horse. Done. You got to be kind of a lone speed. Done. You got to have a good jockey so you can pull off an upset. Done. He's got Rosario for the 3rd time in a row, and the horse is just blasted. Fields 2 straight. Yeah, you're stepping up, but they're here. So to me, I think this horse, like, I just don't see a lot in here. Now, again, like, the class could hit this horse right straight in the eyes when it comes, when the real running starts. We'll see. But I think when you got a horse that's 8-1, you're looking for that kind of what the horse has over the other horses. And I just don't, the front end speed, man. And if they can't, I just don't think they're very good in this race. So if they can't catch them, then that's enough for me.
Yeah, Moretti, he just hasn't looked that great this year. That's the thing. Like, I know he's been facing tougher, and forget about the turf race, but it's like, yeah, you get beat by 5, by 3, by 12. I don't know. I'm not big on Moretti, so I thought I'll try to beat him. And I thought Seafoam was the one that makes sense. Gets out ahead of everybody, and just that's the one they have to run down. And let's see if he can do it. I'm gonna go Seafoam here and hope that Moretti's just not quite what he used to be.
And I will say this: it's kind of a tricky day to find big long shots. Like, it's gonna happen because that's the whole idea of a long shot. But it's hard to kind of find one. I mean, if you look at, it's like if we're talking stakes action, anyways, obviously the Chubster is gonna get done there. Here with Silver State, with race 7, Silver State seems very tough. Mind Control, even your favorite Warriors Charge. Again, this race we just talked about, race 9, the Turf Monster. I like Caravel a lot. I think that horse is going to bounce back in a big way. But again, if it doesn't, there is some. It does. Fire Crow obviously coming back off of his big performance. We haven't seen it in a while, but he's back. And then again, we talked about the Gallon Ball. We talked about the rest of them. So the point is, it's hard to kind of come up with that big long shot price. This one seems the most logical for me.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. I think Churchill Downs, there were some opportunities as well, but I wanted to stick with Seafoam. I just really like the pace setup for him.
All right. You and I are both on number 8, Seafoam, for our Making It Rain long shot pick of the weekend. Yeah, did you guys see that? Oh gosh, what race is that? It's the main stakes at Belmont Saturday.
Oh, Pocket Square?
Pocket Square.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them in there, really, but the Gallant Bloom, no, that's on Sunday. Where is Belmont? Yeah, Pocket Square. And what's that other one? The Miss Terran or whatever, Chet Brown. But yeah, Pocket Square at 3-5 and 9-5 on the other one.
Yeah.
So where are you at with Pocket Square these days? Like, are you done with Pocket Square, or do you think like maybe if she goes and wins here? Because I mean, obviously we really liked her early on. Like, do you think she's got any capabilities of doing something in the Breeders' Cup?
She was super sharp in a pretty easy allowance race last time out. I think Chad Brown just wanted to build that confidence back up. So I don't look at her as a Breeders' Cup horse, but at the same time, I think that was a step in the right direction. I think she ran into 2 really, really good fields where she's not as bad as what she looked. She just ran up against really good horses. I think she's going to win this one, but I don't think she's a Breeders' Cup type. But I think she is going to kind of start to redeem herself.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there was a time where you and I thought she was really good.
Yeah.
And maybe she's really good, just maybe not quite as much as what we thought. But yeah, so that's an interesting one. That's on the stakes action on Saturday, the late stakes action Saturday at Belmont Park. So, all right, let's put a bow on this. Dude, have you been watching like this Thursday night game is like a typical what we normally see on Thursday night. It is awful.
It's bad. McCaffrey got hurt. I don't know how bad it is.
Hamstring. It's all.
And when that happened, it got bad in a hurry. The Texans, boy, they just can't move the ball at all. Yeah, it's bad.
I mean, they just scored. Some guy named Tommy Trimble, which sounds like a made-up name. Tommy Trimble just scored.
I think it's a robot that they found.
It sounds like Keenan and Peele is like where they come up with the fake names. Tommy Trimble, Utah State.
Michael says Marshall and App State's better game. I know. I've got that one on another screen too. It is a pretty good game. Yeah, this NFL game's been rough. And of course, the line is right at 8, and the Texans missed an extra point. So now it's at 8 instead of 7. So it's 14-6.
Oh shit. All right.
We had a good discussion on Dudes Who Bet today. Best job when you're retired. Best like volunteer / very little money type job when you retire. What would you think?
Oh gosh. Like you don't need the money, you're just doing it to do it.
Yeah, just like hobby almost, but it's a job, so to speak.
I mean, I don't know. Like probably just like you'd have to think working at some kind of sporting event, like doing some sort of like ticket, doing tickets or some bullshit, not cleaning shit, but yeah, like working at a stadium or something would be awesome.
Yeah. A lot of people said, Michael says golf caddy. A lot of people said like a starter or a marshal at a golf course. You don't
that
do
would be
shit
sweet.
basically, but you're at a golf course all day.
What did your dad say? He's almost at that level, so.
Well, no, he is at the level. We were trying to think of things. He thought like a volunteer at a zoo. He liked that. And he thought like a tour guide at like a museum of some sort, like a history museum.
Yeah.
So we said Walmart door greeter before COVID hit, but now that they like have to like make people wear masks during COVID, it's like, oh, that would have been bad.
Yeah, that sounds awful now.
Yeah. This was volleyball assistant at Bishop Sycamore.
Oh shit. That sounds fun. I mean, I'm trying to think. I've never really thought about it.
See, this is funny. Like, a zookeeper. Like, I was like, we got off the air. I was like, really, a zoo? You'd want to volunteer at a zoo? Doesn't sound good.
Like, you got to remember, you're not like, there's zero in, like, the money is no, it doesn't matter to you at this point. So you're literally have to be there for the enjoyment. If like, I don't see whether it be cleaning up monkey shit or wrangling kids or at the zoo, like that sounds awful.
That sounds terrible. Yeah.
What if you were like on the field, like a ball, like handling like, oh, I got a good one. Well, I guess when you have the idiots that run on the field. But like, what if you're like security on those guys that just stand there on the field like during the games? Like, you didn't do shit like 99% of the time. You don't do anything. You're just at the game. But I guess you do have the one time.
That. He said security at a football game or something. Yeah.
That would be fun.
it could go bad for you.
It could.
Yeah.
Honestly, in that case, I would rather be like kind of like someone like I would rather be like a marshal or a ball spotter on the PGA, for the Masters or something like that would be because then you don't do shit. You just hang around, There's an old guy.
Ball spotter thing, that would be cool because if people don't know, they're at the fairway or they're down the fairway waiting and they find, they'll signal where the ball went and that kind of stuff. That would be cool.
Fun fact, I did that a few years at the old Price Cutter charity tournament a few years.
Very cool. Very cool.
I score kept 1 year for Pat Perez. People who watch golf, Pat Perez, he's on the tour, but he was obviously on the whatever it was at that time tour, Nike tour, or I don't know what they called it then. But that was always fun. I would do that for sure if I was older.
Yeah.
By the way, Ryder Cup this weekend. Cannot wait. Ryder Cup is amazing. Of course, having it. I think they came out with the pairings for tomorrow already. So
yeah, that's good times. Always good. We never win it, but
yeah, but it's over here this year, right? So
yeah,
it's kind of fun.
Oh yeah,
it's always good. It's like they heckle each other and fans get into it. So it's golf on steroids, kind of. So
yeah,
I love watching it. All right. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. It's all the time we have. Check us out at racenews.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Race News Premium button on the menu at racenews.com to learn more. Remember to go check out the inside track to the 2021 Pennsylvania Derby wager guide right now at racenews.com. Remember, just click that button on the main menu that says Get Racing Dudes Premium. You get access to that. Features in-depth analysis of all 8 stakes on the card at Pennsylvania for the Pennsylvania Derby Day, as well as the Cotillion. You get analysis of the entire card, how we're going to play, multi-race, what plays, analysis base, suggestions, everything for the parks. Entire card Saturday, so go check that out at racenews.com. Remember, become a subscriber and get it for free. We are your destination site for all horse racing picks and sports picks. We're on Twitter at racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, even website racenews.com. Check out the Magic Mike Show. They did I saw they did late pick 5 at Parx. So they juiced it up a little bit. They did the pick 5, not the pick 4. So go.
No pun intended.
Yeah, well, we'll see about the juice. So see what they thought about that late pick 5 sequence as well. Of course, we talked a little bit about some of those races that are in that sequence. So if you want to get their take as well, go check out the Magic Mike Show. Halterman, final thoughts before we close this bad boy up.
Well, it's another really good weekend, right? Because the racing is really solid at Parks. Got a big race feel to it, like I said a little bit earlier. So it's a really good weekend. And then we're rolling with college football and the NFL as well. So this is a lot of fun right now for people who like to gamble, like myself. So yeah, I mean, just have fun, guys. That's my advice. And if you're going to Parks, don't lower the expectations of the racetrack before you go.
Yeah, it is what it is. That's the
Yeah.
best way to describe it. And plan for, like, we're going to be at the track, but we're also, because there's a lot of college football going on tomorrow night or Saturday night. Go plan to be at the casino. Go to the sports book. It is legit. I promise you. It'll be like, the track that was kind of like shitty. No, it'll make up for it. It'll make up for it when you go. Until you go 3 out of 4 on your parlay, and then you get fucking pissed. You stay all night there, and we watched the fucking collapse at the end. I don't remember who it was. It was UCLA and somebody.
Washington State.
God bless, man. That was awful. Anyways, we posed a question for those listening to the podcast version. It won't be on the pod version, but we posed a question about what would be the best job to do after you're retired, like when money doesn't matter. And man, I'm cracking up. Like, there's so many answers coming in here. I'll run through a few of these. Golf caddy, stable cleanup with the breeding shed afterwards. I don't know if I would. I've been to the breeding shed. I don't know if I'd want to be a part of that. A volleyball assistant at Bishop Sycamore. Your dad said a zookeeper, which is interesting. The cooler at a casino, very interesting. The guy who checks your receipts at Sam's Club. Just swiping highlighters. That's right. That would be, I mean, that'd be easy, but I feel like that'd get so old. Hanging with John White anywhere, basically at the track. That sounds perfect. That's what we do. The vendor who gets to throw hot dogs at baseball stadiums. John Daly's caddy. Perfect job. That would be good.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Any other ones? I don't think so. You and I mentioned being secure. I even mentioned being security at a football game. What did you say?
I don't think I said any. I think I said hosting a podcast.
I think maybe you could be the guy that rubs oil on the wrestlers.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
This is a weird old guy. That's Aaron. We just hired him. He does it for free. I don't know.
No. I said some stuff. I can't remember what I said though. No, it doesn't matter.
Anyways, all right. So again, if you're going to Parks, have fun. Remember, go out. I mean, if you make your trip part of the casino / sportsbook and throw in a Philly cheesesteak, then you can't go wrong with the trip. But if you just go to Parks and you go home, you'll probably be disappointed. Just saying. Just like, I'm just trying to like level that off for you. Again, big racing at Parks. You want to check this out. Even if you don't bet, like these are like legit Breeders' Cup horses that are running a lot of these races. So you want to see how their last performances are headed into the Breeders' Cup. So make sure you check that out at Parks. Again, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. Good luck this weekend, guys.